Ecclesiastes 9:4-10 says, "For to him that is joined to all the living there is hope, for a living dog is better than a dead lion. For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything. Neither have they any more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Also their love and their hatred and their envy is now perished. Neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that is done under the sun. Go thy way, eat thy bread with joy, and drink thy wine with a merry heart, for God now accepteth thy works. Let thy garments be always white, and let thy head lack no ointment. Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity, which he hath given thee under the sun, all the days of thy vanity, for that is thy portion in this life, and in thy labor which thou takest under the sun. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest." Here we find a living dog is better than a dead lion. You are better than any dead person, is what we can see out of this. Imagine that. A living dog is better than a dead lion. Imagine how ferocious and mighty a lion is compared to a dog. And yet, we are still better than any dead person. Think back in time to the most respectable person in history. That person, you are better than. Because you are still alive and still have possibilities. There's a promise here that we are all going to die. All of our emotions, love, hate, envy, they all die with us. We won't take anything from this life with us. Take the best of this life we are given. Live joyfully, be thankful, as we see in verse 7. And whatever we do, do it with all our might, because at the end of this life, we can't take any of it with us. I want to talk for a minute about some wasted lives. Prisons and graveyards are full of wasted lives. There's a story from a guy named John, but he wrote this letter. I want to share that at this moment. Hi, my name is John. I've been lurking for a while, but I finally made an account to post this. I need to get my life off my chest. About me. I'm a 46-year-old banker, and I've been living my life the opposite of how I wanted. All my dreams, my passion, gone. In a steady 9-to-7 job, 6 days a week, for 26 years, I repeatedly chose the safe path for everything, which eventually changed who I was. Today I found out my wife has been cheating on me for the last 10 years. My son feels nothing for me. I realized I missed my father's funeral for nothing. I didn't complete my novel, traveling the world, helping the homeless. All these things I thought I knew to be a certainty about myself when I was in my late teens and early 20s. If my younger self had met me today, I would have punched myself in the face. Let's start with the description of me when I was 20. It seemed only yesterday when I was sure I was going to change the world. People loved me, and I loved people. I was innovative, creative, spontaneous, risk-taking, and great with people. I had two dreams. The first was writing a book, and the second was traveling the world and helping the poor and homeless. I had been dating my wife for about 4 years by then. Young love, she loved me, spontaneity, my energy, my ability to make people laugh and feel loved. I knew my book was going to change the world. I would show the perspective of the bad and the twisted, showing my viewers that everybody thinks differently, that people never think what they do is wrong. I was 70 pages through then when I was 20. I'm still 70 pages in at 46. By 20, I had backpacked around New Zealand, the Philippines. I had planned to do all of Asia and Europe, then America. I lived in Australia, by the way. To date, I have only been to New Zealand and the Philippines. It all went wrong. My biggest regrets. I was 20. I was the only child. I needed to be stable. I needed to take a graduate job, which would dictate my whole life. To devote my entire life, a 9-to-7, what was I thinking? How could I live? When coming home, I would eat dinner, prepare my work for the following day, and sleep at 10 p.m. to wake up at 6 a.m. the following day. Yesterday, my wife admitted to cheating on me for the last 10 years. 10 years, that seems like a long time, but I can't comprehend it. It doesn't even hurt. She says it's because I've changed. I'm not the person I was. What have I been doing for the past 10 years? Outside of work, I really can't say anything. Not being a proper husband, not being me. Who am I? What happened to me? I didn't even ask for a divorce. Or yell or cry. I felt nothing. Now I can feel a tear as I write this, but not because my wife has been cheating on me, but because I am now realizing I have been dying inside. What happened to that fun-loving, risk-taking, energetic person that was me, hungering to change the world? Remember all that backpacking and book writing I told you about? That was in the first few years of college. I worked part-time and splurged all that I had earned. Now I save every penny. I don't remember a time I spent on anything fun, on anything for myself. My father passed 10 years ago. I remember getting calls from Mom telling me that he was getting sicker and I was getting busier. On the verge of a big promotion, I kept putting my visit off, hoping in my mind that he would hold on. He died, and I got my promotion. I haven't seen him in 15 years. When he died, I told myself it didn't matter that I didn't see him. I rationalized that being dead, it wouldn't even matter anyway. What was I thinking? Rationalizing everything, making excuses to put things off, excuses, procrastination. It all leads to one thing: nothing. I rationalized that financial security was the most important thing. I know that it is not. I regret doing nothing with my energy when I had it, my passions, my youth. I regret letting my job take over my life. I regret being an awful husband, a money-making machine. I regret not finishing my novel, not traveling the world, not being emotionally there for my son. If you're reading this and you know, or you have the whole life ahead of you, please don't procrastinate. Don't leave your dreams for later. Relish in your energy, your passions. Don't stay in the internet with all your spare time unless your passion needs it. Please do something with your life. Do not forget your friends, your family. Do not waste your life, your ambitions, like I did mine. Do not be like me. I realized I let procrastination and money stop me from pursuing my passions when I was younger, and now I am dead inside. In John's story, we find that he had forgot how to live joyfully. John took the safe route instead of God's route. John's common theme in his life was himself, was his job, his routine, his promotion. He neglected his wife, his son, his father, and ultimately he neglected God. Colossians 3:23 says, "And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord, and not unto men." Living for yourself or solely for man is a great way to waste your life. Living for the Lord, on the other hand, it's easy, right? It's safe. No more struggles. The opposite is actually true. The closer we get to God, the harder it can be. John 15:20 says, "Remember the word that I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also." So living for the Lord won't be easy. It won't be safe. It won't be struggle-free. But Matthew 5:11-12 says, "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were better." Living a life for the Lord pays off in the end. 3 examples that I want to take from people who lived for the Lord. The first is Joni was born in 1949 and was only 17 when a diving accident left her a quadriplegic. She sank into a deep depression, struggled with thoughts of suicide, and began to doubt God. But he never abandoned her. God lifted her from the depths of her despair, and she wrote about God's saving grace and the new life she found in Joni, her 1976 best-selling autobiography. Today, she is a beloved speaker, author, and artist who inspires so many with her story of God's faithfulness, even when heartbreaking, life-changing events threaten to overwhelm us. In 1997, Joni established Joni and Friends, an organization that is dedicated to accelerating Christian ministry. In the disability community, she has served hundreds of thousands of people. Joni has written more than 40 books on the subjects of disability and Christianity, recorded several albums, and starred in the film adaptation of her life. Joni is the living embodiment of God's faithfulness and remains a devoted advocate for the disabled. In this story, we find that God restored Joni's joy. She found her purpose, and with all her might, she worked for the Lord. Another story comes from Andrew Vanderbilt. He was born in the Netherlands in 1928. In the United States, he is known as Brother Andrew, or God's smuggler, a Christian missionary who smuggled hundreds of thousands of Bibles in his Volkswagen Beetle in plain view into communist countries at the height of the Cold War. He is known for praying, "Lord, make seeing eyes blind." Before stopping at communist borders and mandatory inspections, his story shows that faith can move mountains and make seeing eyes blind. In his book, Secret Believers, Brother Andrew writes, "Of course it's dangerous, but it's a lot more dangerous for all of us if we don't do it. Even in a conquering army, there are casualties." Safety is not the issue. When we look at the Great Commission, the purpose of the church cannot be to survive or even to thrive, but to serve. In 1955, Vanderbilt founded Open Doors, an international organization that serves and aids persecuted Christians worldwide. Andrew stared persecution in the face and trusted God. He served the Lord wholeheartedly. My last story comes from Charles Wendell, or Chuck Colson. He served as a special counsel to President Richard Nixon from 1969 to 1973, but he is best known as Nixon's hatchet man. Colson, who was sent to prison for his role in the Watergate scandal, once boasted that he would walk over his own grandmother if necessary, if it suited his purposes. But in the confines of his jail cell, Colson read C.S. Lewis's book, Mere Christianity, and there he met God. Colson was a truly changed man, and in 1976 he published a memoir about his transformation, Born Again, which was the first of over 30 books that he would write. He went on to create the nonprofit ministry Prison Fellowship and later Prison Fellowship International. Both organizations focused on the needs of prisoners and their families and the importance of teaching and training from a Christian worldview. Colson hosted Breakpoint, a daily radio commentary that was heard in over 1,000 outlets across the country. Colson at first lived for himself and for man, saying that he would walk over his own grandmother if it were necessary. Once born again, he lived heartily for the Lord. What we see in these three examples is another common thing. Whatever they did it wholeheartedly to the Lord, as Colossians says. Guarantee one thing: none of them regret living this way. 4 keys to living your best life. Number 1, be joyful and thankful. 1 Thessalonians 5:16 through 18 says, "Rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you." It is God's will for us to rejoice and to be thankful in good and bad, in everything that we do, in everything that happens to us. Life is too short to not be joyful. Pray without ceasing. Our life should be a living prayer and a walk with God. I ask, how often do you pray? Number 2, live with purpose. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose." Do you love God? Are you living his purpose for your life? Whatever you're doing, are you doing it with all your might and wholeheartedly to the Lord? If you want purpose, make God your purpose. The third thing to living your best life is love. John 13:35 says, "By this shall men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another." This is the easiest way to witness to others. Just show love. Your fruits will be seen. It's easy to love those who love us back, But Matthew 5:44 says, "But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you." This is where it gets hard, but no one should be treated differently. The same love you show to your friend should also be shown to your enemy. Love is selfless and involves forgiveness to those who wrong you. And lastly, we're to obey God. John 14:14 says, Jesus says, "If ye love me, keep my commandments." It is really that simple. If you love God, you will obey his commandments. Not some of them, all of them. To live your best life, obey God, and it will keep you out of trouble and open you up for God's blessings. In the story about John, he was not joyful or thankful. He had no purpose. He had no love, and he did not obey God. This left him dead inside. In the stories of Joni, Andrew, and Charles, they lived wholeheartedly for the Lord with purpose, joy, and love because they obeyed God. If you want this for your life, it starts with accepting Christ as your Savior. Obey God so he can restore your joy, make God your purpose in this life, and show God's love inside you. Are you obeying God? Does his love show through you? Is God your purpose? And are you joyful and thankful?